energy. Living legends are reaching me. Sharing knowledge with you and me. Teaching us how to lead with Sharon Lee. Sharon Lee. Sharon Lee. On the run. Sharon Lee. Sharon Lee. On the run. Yeah. Keep on building that synergy. One blood that is on you and me. Keep on building that synergy. One blood that is on you and me. Keep on building that synergy. One blood that is on you and me. Keep on building that synergy. One blood that is on you and me.
Building that energy. One block at a time. Happy Friday, everyone. Happy Friday. This is your girl, Sharon Parker, aka Sharon Lee on the run. Yeah, y'all know I'm not running from anything. I'm running to opportunities, but I wanted to just say welcome to another powerful podcast. I can't wait to share our guests with you. But as always, you know, I like to cover some ground rules, right? So, one, I just want to welcome you to this wonderful September 23rd, 2020 podcast show. This is our first season, as you know. We started back on June 24th. This is our 14th episode. So I'm really excited. We are rocking and rolling with this podcast. And we're in alignment with what we like to do. So what we do here on this podcast, guys, is we laugh, we learn, and we lead. Now, part of laughing and learning and leading is listening, guys. So you got to listen to what's going on in the podcast because you have no idea how much and how big you can win. So we're going to be giving away raffles. We're going to be giving away seats to my coaching program. And I'm excited to say that this is our Power of 9 weekend. So we're going to be celebrating Rosa's 9th annual Leading with Income conference this coming Saturday in the historic Annapolis, Maryland, So I want y'all to stay tuned. I want y'all to share this out. I want you all to ask questions, comment, just be engaging because this is really a true Leading Within Legacy podcast interview. And you'll know all about where I'm going with this when we bring up our guests. So at this time, I want to also thank our sponsors. Our sponsors, we would not be here without you showing up professionally. I want to thank, Only Greatness Media Production. Of course, our very own Chris Glenn, smart video girl who does her thing for us every week. I want to also thank Sean Parker. The lights are shining because of him, and he's having them shine on me the way that I would like under the podcast. I also would like to thank Lisa Dove Washington. Lisa Dove Washington creates video promos for us. She helps support our upcoming conference. She's going to be the MC, and also our very own Dana Parker. Dana, thank you as always for this theme song. I look forward to seeing you and Sean this weekend at the Maggiano's. But before I get into all of that, at this time, I would like to ask Chris if she could bring our guest up to give just a snippet about who she is, because we're going to go into this interview asking all kinds of wonderful questions. Hello.
Hi, good morning.
You look so beautiful.
Thank you.
Oh, wow. Everyone look at her. She looks so beautiful. And your smile is so natural and your whole expression. I just love it. Let me ask you, can you give us your name, your whole name? I didn't give it to him yet. And also, can you let us know, who are you?
Well, my name is Robin Robinson. I am the executive director of Sankofa Fine Art Plus in Cleveland, Ohio.
Wow. Did y'all get that? Okay, it's on the screen. I know y'all get it, but do y'all get this legacy builder that's in the room with us today? She's the executive director of Sankofa's Fine Art in Cleveland, Ohio. By the time we get to this interview, guys, either we're going to be crying and laughing and laughing and crying, but at the end of the day, you're going to be amazed on how this synergy came together. So, Robin, thank you again for being our 14th guest, podcast guest. Give us a little bit more about, who is Robin? Start from, when you were younger.
That's a long time ago.
You don't look at that gray is just fooling everybody.
It's white. but yeah, so I was born in West Philadelphia. I can this song West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground.
Yeah, Will Smith.
Right. Same. Uh, in 1954. So I'm 68 years old. Before civil rights movement, before, Black Lives Matter, all of that. I was born in a community. Back then, it was a community.
Okay.
So everybody was of the same ilk. We were all middle class. We were all Black. We were all, neighbors. We all knew each other. We called each other Aunt this and Uncle that. And we all grew up together and played in the street until the street lights came on. And, it was the last generation, in my opinion, that we actually had a childhood, a safe childhood.
Wow.
That is a lot of why I do what I do, is because I am a community activist. I believe in community.
Well, that is, you've said a lot. And again, I am so honored to have you on the show. And I would like for Chris to do us a favor, keep us on the screen, but bring up your video, because I want to play it a couple of times because I want people to really see your journey. But I want them to also see some creative pictures in this presentation that really speaks on why you should always remember when you go anywhere that you need to always find a way to tap into that legacy. So, Chris, if you could bring up that video for us. Yeah, I tell you, thank you, Chris, for showing that. I'm not sure the internet connection is a little delayed. I'm not really sure why that is, Chris, but please let me know what's going on with that. I thought the video production went through, it didn't complete, but tell me what you think of that video, Robin.
I am honored. That was, it brought back a lot of memories of my family and growing up in West Philly. As I said, when you live in row houses, you know your neighbors.
Yeah.
You know who's around you, and everybody in our neighborhood owned their homes. So it
Mm,
wasn't as transient as it is now in many places. So it's a like I mentioned before, I grew up with a sense of community, and when I came to as things have happened in society and community is no longer a fundamental essential
yeah.
neighborhoods, um, it forced me into the field that I do now.
Awesome. I tell you, when I hear you say that you grew up, prior to the civil rights movement, when I hear you say that, you were in a community where it was really, really a community, and then when I hear you say that, everyone owned their homes,
Uh-huh.
everyone knew one another. It just boggles my mind to say what happened over the years that just took a lot of that away. And we're going to talk a little bit about it as it relates to your story. But I just want to welcome Cynthia Lang. As always, she's always supporting our podcast show. I think Maria is on, but Maria, if you could put if that's you in Facebook. Oh yes, thank you, Maria. Everyone that's responding through Facebook, please put your name so that I can see who's responding in Facebook. Yes, Maria, she's the president for the Maryland Association of American Mothers, and she is a Philly girl, and she is in the STEM field. Her whole family is, I'm sure she can relate to your story, and she's going to absolutely love how the synergy came together, which prompted me to want to interview you immediately, especially this Friday. So, for those who were on the show last week, we had a guest. His name was CJ. I met CJ in Cleveland during the national, I think it was the 43rd National Blacks in Government NTI. And he was sitting in the lobby. He was painting a picture, and I kind of, was curious about the picture, and I wanted to know what it was about. And then he came on the show and talked about him being an artist. But he also shared with me that as we were in Cleveland, when I say we, I'm talking about the Blacks in Government organization, that he felt like we missed something very precious in the community. And I'm like, well, what did we miss? And he's like, well, there was a display of pictures. Hi, Kimberly. Thank you for joining, dear. There was a display of pictures right in walking distance from where the convention center was, where we could have went over there. A whole clan of us from all over the country could have went over there and took pictures of the wonderful art that was there. By chance, I went over there because we didn't know about it. And I went over there because I thought the water was in walking distance. Much to my surprise, it was not. But I did stumble upon this, display of wonderful art. So last week, CJ and I in the community, we were talking about it must have been some art that was put out there for Juneteenth. Make a long story short, I was able to take some pictures. I was able to put it into a PowerPoint presentation or a video production like we did yours. And I was looking through the art, and I noticed that been some, vandalism going on. So it prompted me to try to get in contact with who was organizing that painting production. So I was blessed to come across your website. I was blessed to reach out to you and have you ask you to give me a call, and you did the same day. And when you called me, of course, I shared this story with you because I felt like it's a shame that the Blacks in Government was not able to really see what was out there. It also was a shame that people were vandalizing some of the art, but they didn't know Sharon Lee on the Run was in the house taking pictures and was going to make sure that, the community get to know what was out there in Cleveland, Ohio. And that was back on August the 18th, I believe, 16th, 17th, and 18th. So I'm sharing all of that to say, Robin, that synergy, this interviews and collaboration doesn't happen just because. It happens because there's a story that needs to be told. And I really, really am honored that you're here to tell your story because at the end of the day, when people know about true legacy, what that looks like, then they'll be more engaged to maybe stop doing some things that they're currently doing to try to put money aside, save so they can invest in their own selves. So let me ask you, even though I know you're the executor, director of the Sankofa Fine Arts, plus, tell us a little bit about like, well, I'm going a little fast. I'm so excited to get into that. I still want to know a little bit about you. Tell me about you. Do you have any siblings? Your mom, your dad? Let's learn a little bit more about you, and then I'll get into the specific question about your profession. So, give me a little bit about you. What were you
Okay.
like?
Well, you did show one picture that
Yeah,
had my family in it.
yeah.
So I have or four siblings actually.
Okay.
No, myself and three others. Sorry, I'm
Okay.
sorry. So I'm the oldest of my group. My father
Mm.
had a daughter before me, before he was involved with my mother. So I have an older sister. Then it's me, and then I have a younger brother and a younger sister.
Okay.
So my older sister grew up separate from me, although we do have a relationship, and she was a part of our family.
Okay.
My unit of just myself, my brother, and my younger sister grew up with my parents.
Awesome.
So I had father, mother, and siblings all together in my life. So it wasn't a single mother household. Um, so and almost all the people that I knew were in that situation.
Okay. That's really, and you said I mean, I'm not trying to tell your age, but
I
how
already
long were
did.
you how long were you living in Philadelphia?
Until I was 30.
Okay.
I I graduated from school. I graduated from Temple, went to Temple University in Philadelphia. Um, when I was 30, I went through a divorce, and that took me into Cleveland. And that's a totally another story why
Okay.
I ended up in Cleveland. But I ended up in Cleveland. I then married again, ended up in Indiana, divorced again, and then ended
Mm.
up back in Cleveland.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. So now let's move to the profession, your passion. What made you, without giving away your on the run story yet, tell
Mhm.
us a little bit about you as why did you get into the profession of, art, creativity? What drove you to that profession?
I've always been an artist. I believe, and this is something that Picasso said, that every child is born an artist. It's discouraged out of you
Mm,
as you grow, as you get older. So, but
okay.
every child is born with that sense of creativity, imagination, that drive to paint or represent themselves in some way.
Wonderful.
And so, I've always had that as a drive, and so do my sister. Is an artist in her way. My children have art in their being. My son is a professional caricature artist. So I mean, we all have art in us, and I think that by me being an artist and actually, doing it professionally, it gives them the knowledge that they can do it without any shame. And there's an art. Basically, there are no right or wrong answers
I hear
to
you.
art. I mean, art just is. So you do how you feel. You do. There's so many different ways to express yourself artistically, that, there's no shame, there's no, denial, there's no wrong.
I hear
Just
you, and
do it.
you're absolutely right. So Maria had a question. Your Philly girl had a question. She wanted to know, what high school did you graduate from?
Overbrook.
Overbrook High School. So
Overbrook.
Maria, if you know that high school, let us know. You know where it is. Talk to us. Leave some comments about what you know about the school.
Yeah, Overbrook
So
High School.
Miss Robin, in your creativity and passion, you talk about being an activist.
Hmm.
Tell us about that. What does that mean to you, and why did you decide to be an activist? And what form of an activist are you?
Actually, I am a community engagement activist. I believe in community, as I mentioned before. And one of the things, and I'm going to double back, it's something that you said earlier, that you don't know why this is different now.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say something that I'm sure you're going to get a lot of chats, and it's going to be, very conversational. But in my opinion, the worst thing that happened to the Black community was desegregation.
Mm.
And because before, when we were segregated, yes, we had our own little pots, and they treated us badly and all that sort of thing. But we flourished as a community, as a people. I mean, look at Tulsa.
Yeah.
We flourished as a people within ourselves. And I think that once we were desegregated, the other entities came in, utilized our resources to our disadvantage. And, I mean, if we were left to our own resources, in my opinion, and I'm not Garfield, I'm not, like I'm trying to create any controversy or anything.
Okay.
But I'm old enough to know what it was like before we were um, brought into the fold, and what happened when the welfare system broke up the Black family. You couldn't have your husband living with you and still be able to support your family with, and it was just, it's been a mess.
Yes.
And what's happening now, I think a lot of things are coming back around. However, I mean, there's so much that the community sense has not been able to recapture. And now, there's places like, I live in Glenville, which is
Okay.
a section of Cleveland, Ohio,
Okay.
which is worried about, gentrification and things like that. So, I mean, it's there's a lot of things going on that the sense of community has been lost.
And I there's working in the federal government myself for 35 years. I happened to work at the Department of Housing and Urban Development. And working in that department, one of the offices that they have in there is a FHNEO organization within HUD. And when I first started working at HUD, I saw all the signs on the walls that they had created because there were a lot of housing issues going on in the community when I grew up. I grew up in the early 60s. So I'm like, maybe, of course, a generation after you. But for me, I respect everyone's opinion about how they've seen things transpired in the community. I definitely know that the community is so convoluted right now with so many issues today. And you're right, there is a systemic racism issue that is still impacting us and that impact us and have really been impacting us for decades, honestly. So I totally get it. But let me ask you, with the sense of community that you had,
Mhm.
um again, how do you use your art though to be an activist?
Very good. Uh, what I do is I do public community engagement public art.
Okay.
So I do murals for the
Mm,
most part. I'm an art educator, and an art therapist, and I use that to be able to bring the voice of the disenfranchised communities or neighborhoods into some visible creation in their neighborhood that
Okay.
they have ownership of.
Mm.
So I do not believe in doing things to people.
Mm.
You know, you go into, and so many muralists or so many people go into communities thinking, I'm going to help these people
Yeah.
and I'm going to do this for them or to them, and they don't have a voice in it. So what I do is I go into, I get groups together. I'll go into a community. My organization is strictly grant based, so I don't
Mm.
charge anybody anything. So I
Wonderful.
go into the community and I find out what their core issues, core values, whatever are, just by listening to them.
Yeah.
And then I put different groups together, volunteers. I mean, I ask for volunteers for these conversations, and it always starts with a conversation.
Mm.
And then from that conversation, we get a theme. From that theme, we make a concept. So I come up with visual ideas, paintings, drawings, whatever, bring it back to the community. We figure out what we want it to say. And then we go through the process of actually doing a mural. We've
Wow.
created a paint by number type of situation where the image is projected onto a fabric like substance.
Okay.
It's treated. It's paint by number. If I give you a number one, you go through and paint all the number ones. And so there's no skill level involved, no age level involved. I mean, anybody can do it. And then at the end of that, we install that mural on the wall.
Wow, that is absolutely amazing. That model needs to be, your model of a activist in the creative fields needs to be replicated all over the country. I really have to say that because what I've noticed everywhere I go now around the country, I start noticing less of us in the city of these states, honestly. And I'm asking the question, what's going on? Why is it going on? And why are we not paying attention to what's going on? There's
Mhm.
a lot of people doing a lot of wonderful things and they're really, really making a lot of money doing it. But I'm a true believer if your community continues to go down, then something is wrong with the big picture. And we need to address that. So kudos to you and your efforts on what you're doing. We're going to take a little break for some commercials. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to ask you some more about the creativity side of you. I want to know again some of the people that you work with in the community, and two, what's happening right now that you feel as an activist that the community across the country needs to address. So just pause for a second. We're going to have Chris bring up our promo video in a second. I just want to say, guys, I hope y'all got y'all thinking caps on because I said at the top of the show, this show is about laughing, learning, and leading. So I am going to ask you a question on what you can remember about what Robin has shared thus far in her story. So Chris is going to show our promo video for our upcoming 9th annual Leading Within conference, and then I'm going to ask you a question. You're going to have a minute or less to answer it because we are excited about this interview. So Chris, you can bring it out.
Evil Empire, laughing all the way to the
Blackpink in your area.
Evil Empire, laughing all the way to the
All right, guys, keep that up there, Chris. Guys, put your thinking caps on. Now, you already heard Miss Robin say that the community is not what it once used to be. We don't own in the community like we used to own back in the 1950s, guys. So I want you all to tell me, anyone who guess the question, well, not guess, anyone that knows the answer to this question I'm going to ask you. I want you to scan the barcode and I want you to say, I want to tell my legacy story. And it's $25 for you to get a picture created, but that $25 will yield you a ticket tomorrow, which is a 70, I can think $72, value ticket tomorrow at the ninth annual Leading Within conference at the Annapolis Mall in Annapolis, Maryland, at the Maggiano's. You see this flyer, guys? Even though we're laughing for a purpose, guys. We're trying to open up the platform to bring in all generations. So you'll have an opportunity to be there if you scan the picture or this QR code, bring it up on your phone, say, I want to get a legacy picture taken of myself. It's only $25, but that same $25 would be your ticket into the conference. So instead of paying $97, you're going to be only pay $25 to go into the ninth annual Leading Within conference. So the first one that can guess or tell me the answer to how many siblings does Miss Robinson have? How many siblings does Miss Robinson have? Ding, 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 ding. I can't do the Jeopardy sound, but how many siblings does Miss Robinson have? Put that in the comment and let us know. Put it in the comment and let us know how many siblings does Miss Robinson have? Okay, so is it? I see someone from Facebook, but they didn't put their name beside their number. So put your name beside your number, so I can know who you are. It says Facebook user, but it doesn't show the name. Who is that? Who said 3 first? Maria, was that you? Was that you, Maria, that said 3? I think it was. Congratulations. Yes, 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 yes. Congratulations, Maria. I'm not surprised, Maria, that you got that. And Maria doesn't miss many questions. This Philly young lady is always winning. Every time I put something out there, she's like, I got this. I got this. That's that Philly brain. I love it. Congratulations, Maria. You won a entry into the ninth annual Leading Within conference. Go and scan that QR code. That's your ticket. And just because you are who you are, I'm going to give you another free ticket to the ninth annual Leading Within conference. We'll have food there. Of course, Maggiano's has some great Italian food. We're going to have music. We're going to have, a photographer. We're going to have billions of dollars coming in your community. Billions. The infrastructure bill has passed. It is a law. And if you don't know how to write capability statements, if you don't know how to connect with those who can really use that infrastructure funds, you're going to miss a lot of opportunities. We're not going to dive so deep into it, but we're going to talk about legacy building, guys. We're recognizing legacy builders, legacy seekers, and Miss Roberts, you are a jewel. And I'm so glad that we just happened to stumble on you, because this is, and I would not have known about you if I had not gone to Cleveland and took those steps to go and take pictures of those arts that you all saw in the production.
There are no accidents.
There's never any accidents. I just want to say thank you. Yes, East Side, we're coming up as what's the Jefferson man name? Fred Jefferson. We're moving on up. We're gonna move the East Side on up in Cleveland, because I was in Cleveland. I was on the West Side, and I was encouraged not to go to the East Side. I really was,
and that's the problem.
And I was disappointed about that.
Mostly the problem. I don't know how much time you have, and I just want to say this real quick.
Please.
In 2020, I curated a AR, augmented reality, art exhibit that brought focus to 12 different artists in 6 different areas of East Side. Very distressed areas, ignored areas, that economically ignored by the city government. to make sure that people from the West Side had a reason to come to the East Side. And my theory was, if you see these areas, if you see how these communities are striving and making their way with the little bit of resources that they get, but they're still functioning and they're still striving for perfection and just endurance.
Yes,
it'll be more difficult to take advantage of them.
Exactly.
If you see that these are actual people that are trying to make do. So, and AR being augmented reality, half of the exhibit was that you had to use your phone or device to see things because you couldn't see them. It was very technical. And the other half of the exhibit was in the Sculpture Center. So it was actual 2 different exhibits. You could go on site and meet neighbors and do this AR exhibit, and then go to the Sculpture Center and actually see something tangible.
This is so powerful. I tell you guys, we're talking about Cleveland, but this is happening all over the country.
Mm-hmm.
Knowledge is being lost all over the country, and we need to step up and make sure that we expose that, not for argumentative purposes, but for like I say, learning and leading purposes, laughing about what has happened, because they're not going to win. It's just not going to happen, because you got Sharon Lee on the run, and you got Miss Robin Robinson out there, and other people like her leading the charge. And thank you, Maria. George Jefferson is the young man that I'm talking about. Okay, moving on up. Absolutely. Guys, I want to thank you all for being here. I know we went a little over, but I'm going to have Chris play the promo video for tomorrow's conference again. Ms. Robbins, this is going to only be part 1 of our interview. I'm bringing you back on the show. Okay, you're coming back, because we're going to constantly keep the community updated, okay, about what's going on in Cleveland, and hope that it will inspire those who are going to watch this video even later about how they need to get involved and start building that legacy or rebuilding that legacy. Like our theme song says, 1 block at a time. So Chris, if you could bring the promo video up again. Guys, Cynthia, Lisa, Maria, I saw Kimberly, I saw Cheryl. Thank you all for joining. Share this podcast out, guys, because this is one of our signature podcast interviews with a true legacy builder.
Evil Empire, laughing all the way to the bank.
Blackpink in your area.
Evil Empire, laughing all the way to the bank.
Awesome. All right, guys. We're going to go out with our theme song, but Ms. Robin, stay behind the scenes, because you're going to be in the green room. We're going to do some photo ops, and then we'll let you go for the day. But what a powerful legacy story. What a powerful on the run story. And we're so happy that you're here doing what you're doing in Cleveland, because this has gone global now. Okay. Your story has gone global. Bye, everybody. And I'll see you all next Friday at the same time, 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, for our next podcast guest, which you will learn about next week. So have a great Friday, and look forward to seeing you all Saturday in the Annapolis Mall at the 9th annual Leading Within Conference. Spread the word. Spread the word. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Sharing knowledge with you and me, teaching us how to lead with Sharon Lee.